Apparently, there's a lot of these signs around town right now. We just got the Canadian November jobs numbers in today, and boy, they were good, like off the charts good. Some wonder if they're too good. We've actually never had a month this good. Canada created a record amount of jobs in November, 94,100 of them. Economists were expecting a gain of just 10,000. The unemployment rate at a record low of 6.6%. But the top economist at Manulife says it's not totally as good as it looks.
Last year, we were adding about 36,000 jobs on average each month. This year, even incorporating this very strong number, that number's closer to 14. So if you're feeling like job growth isn't as great as it was last year, if you smooth out those numbers over a longer period, you'd be right.
But what about here in Ontario? Turns out the province created 20,000 jobs last month and created 66,000 over the past 12 months. The Premier likes to say the minimum wage going up to $14 an hour has hurt jobs in Ontario this year. Has it?
Jury's out. We need more data. It takes a long time for these types of shocks to filter it through to the broad economy. I need to see what temporary jobs look like over the holiday season, and I need to see how this plays out over a 2 to 3 year horizon. It's just not enough to draw a conclusion yet.
Are people feeling as robust as the numbers?
I don't think so.
Why is that?
Yeah, I just saw the news about in Oshawa. There's a lot of shedding the jobs in the GM plant. So I'm not sure about the job growth.
I think it depends from industry to industry, company to company. I have my friend here who just came from India about 6 months back and has found a job with a top-notch company. So it depends if you have the skill sets. And if you are able to ace those interviews.
Anytime we kind of shock the system with some change like a minimum wage, it does take several years to come to a conclusion. I know we're still a year in and it feels like we should know the answer, but I'm not comfortable making that call, and I don't think most economists would be.
The real story here, though, may be wages. They're barely budging for most people.
Wage growth is actually slowing towards 1.5%. That isn't even enough to keep up with inflation.
So people are getting hired, but they're not getting those raises at the end of the year.
That's exactly the story.
Many are expecting the hiring signs to come down over the next year or two, with a possible recession on the horizon.
We do need to recognize that that big, ugly R-word recession may be something that becomes more common over the next several months and into 2020.
So with slowing growth expected next year, things might get a bit hairy in the employment sector. But right now, I guess we can say we have at least a decent job market. Hoping I stayed gainfully employed, fingers crossed. On Bloor Street, Richard Southern, City News.